All right, for your hot tag this week is Collision from November 2nd, 2024. Show opens up with Private Party having a celebration in the ring. I loved how this was set up because you've got it's all themed after Private Party. So you've got all the babyface tag teams in the ring celebrating with them, and all the face and all the heel tag teams on the ramp behind the velvet rope, not being led into the party because they're heels. I thought that was a really great way to do it. But it basically, yeah, I mean, it was what you pretty much expect them to say. It's kind of, it's a new era, blah blah blah. But what was really getting my attention was two things. Number one, they seemed pretty intent on eventually having a match with FTR, which I am all about. FTR, in my mind, is the greatest tag team of all time. Don't at me. Uh, it's I mean, everybody they get in the ring with winds up better. It just do. Like they are the measuring stick. Uh, and so like I'm excited for that. The second part was that it led into a newly refocused vision of the tag team scene in AEW because they planned out for each successive show, the next three shows leading into Full Gear, Dynamite, Collision, and then Dynamite, all have a tag team match, a different tag team match. And the winner of those matches are going to go on to face Private Party in a four-way match at with the belts on the line at Full Gear. So the first one, I think I'm getting this order right, but the Outrunners versus Top Flight, House of Black versus FTR, and then La Facción Ingobernable versus the Acclaimed. So, honestly, I mean, I have my guesses as to who's going to win, but there are I could see a couple of those matches going either way. I see FTR winning for sure, but and I see probably the Outrunners winning too. But the Acclaim versus LFI is kind of a pick 'em. I imagine that it'll probably be LFI because they're currently feuding with FTR a little bit. But I mean, I could see it going to the Acclaims. I could see it going. Honestly, no matter what the permutation of the actual winners is, that's a good match. That four-way match is a good match. So I'm happy with that. I loved that they set it out the next week and a half programming in this division is all set ahead of time. It shows that there's a plan. It shows that there's going to be a renewed and continued focus on the tag team division, where it was at the time it was just the Young Bucks. They were just there, and it was them, and there was no focus on the belts. It was pretty much everybody else, and it was like haphazard thrown together stuff. I know that was probably due to them wanting to do bigger things with their gimmick with the Elitas, EVPs, and stuff like that. But something I didn't talk about in Dynamite was a segment that right after they lost the belts, the Young Bucks hightailed it. They didn't want to deal with the BCC. Then they turned tail and ran and left poor Brandon Cutler to get the crap kicked out of him.
Shit kicked out of him. Oh, God.
Poor Brandon.
Poor Brandon, man.
Poor Brandon.
So gross.
I want to play D&D with that guy. Like, I would love to be Brandon Cutler's friend. Brandon Cutler, if you're the guy at AEW who's listening to this, hey, get at me. Hit me up in my DMs. We'll make something work online. I really want to play D&D with you for reals. But yeah, like so it looks like the Young Bucks it looks like they pretty much moved on. Like I don't think that's a bad thing, because how can you have the evil bosses be taken seriously when you have Moxley and crew running around? Like they are clearly being positioned as the more dangerous group. It's like yeah, like it makes sense. And you know what? Give the Bucks some time. Like, Kenny's not there anymore anyway. Like, I feel like this was all set up to kind of eventually have those guys feud again. But like, Kenny is showing up at a New Japan show tonight as we record this on Sunday, which is technically Saturday or technically Monday in Japan already.
Hmm.
But I mean, it's just an appearance. He's not wrestling. He's got diverticulitis, man. Like that is life threatening. So, like, I felt like they probably waited as long as they could, and then this BCC angle came around and got hot, and it just didn't make sense anymore for the Bucks to be around as the evil because they didn't have a foil. Their foil was a group of battered dudes. So, like, yeah, you know what? Give them some time off. Go be with your families. Your wife, your kids miss you. Go. I mean, the Continental Classic is right around the corner. Okada can still be in that. That's fine. Jack Perry is feuding. He's still got the TNT title. He'll hold that. Those two will hold down the fort with the name of the Elite. That's fine. The Bucks don't need to be there because they were honestly just treading water and holding. I think they were probably holding the belts until Kenny could come back with Coda, and they were probably going to drop it originally to the Golden Lovers,
Hmm.
which I would have been fine with for the record. I would have been totally okay with that. But I mean, they just waited too long because
Hmm.
Kenny needs to be able to come back. If he's going to come back, he needs to be 100%. That's not
Hmm.
something that you want to take chances with, which is understandable.
Yeah.
But the storylines around the Elite have really fumbled, really, because the original plans fell through due to nobody's fault. It's nobody's fault that somebody got sick.
Yeah.
Absolutely nobody's fault. So I think they were just treading water, figuring out what to do with them. The BCC are huge bad guys now. They had a chance to make a new team as a top act in Private Party. They did that. Give them a vacation.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be healthy. And when they come back, they'll have a whole new slate of teams ready to face them and be seen as credible challengers.
Hmm.
So and that will only up the drawing power of them because if you never really thought the Young Bucks were going to lose to anybody. If there's no danger there, you can't really buy in as much. So
Yeah.
ultimately, I think it was the best decision they can make given what they had. And from the ashes of that, we're getting a renewed and revamped and refocused tag team division, which makes this Smark Foundation member very, very happy. Uh, the first actual match on the show was the Day of the Dead match. It was basically just a no DQ match, like with Day of the Dead trappings. Now, I'm not Mexican at all, but I love, as an outside observer, I love that aesthetic.
Hmm.
I'm very much, I'm fascinated with Mesoamerican history. I love that whole, I think it's just fascinating culture. So this hit some buttons for me just based on the looks of it alone. I loved the little bit where Thunder Rosa, who had a fantastic entrance, by the way, amazing entrance, but it was capped off by there was an ofrenda at ringside, and she had a framed picture of Harley Cameron, and she put her on the ofrenda as I mean, if you know, I mean, but for our
Hmm.
listeners at home, the ofrenda is basically like kind of like a shrine. You put the pictures of your dead relatives there, and you make offerings to them on the Day of the Dead to remember them and carry on their legacy. Harley Cameron was being essentially put up there as a dead relative, so that was to me that was funny, but also very powerful state as a statement, and I
Hmm.
loved that. Fantastic, set the tone for the way Thunder Rosa was going to wrestle this match. Now, I will say that uh, uh, Harley Cameron is still learning in the ring, but let me tell you what, like she's got such a ceiling. Once she eventually hits her work rate peak, she is going to be a fantastic professional wrestler. because she already has the character down stuff. She has so much of the character work down that it often her greenness in the ring is often overshadowed in a good way by all the little character bits that she does in the in between moments. So it doesn't, whereas the smarkiest of smarks and the discerning wrestling snob may be upper butt for, oh, you botched this, or oh, this looked awful. It doesn't matter because the other intangibles she has in spades. Like I love Harley Cameron, and I thought this was a really good match. Probably not as good as some of the other no DQ women's matches we've seen from AEW. I wouldn't. It all of them were great. All of them have been great. This was probably towards the bottom end of it if we're being realistic, but it was still good. And the finish came when Harley Cameron was in the corner. She had a trash can on her head, and Thunder Rosa did the thing that she's done a couple of other times in other matches like this, where she sets the table up where it's slanted, and she uses it as a ramp to run up and hit the corner shotgun drop kick on
Oh.
Harley Cameron. It looks fantastic. Huge fan of both of these ladies. Did a terrific job. Nothing but ups for this match and for those ladies in general. Um, and as good as that match was, holy cow. Commander versus Kyle Fletcher was incredible. If you make time to see one AEW match from this week, make it this one. This was match of the week. And I wouldn't say it wasn't close, but man, is this really good. Like Kyle Fletcher comes out, his head is shaved. This is his first match since the thing with Osprey, turning on
Mm-hmm.
Osprey. He comes out, he has tearaway pants. So he's a trunks guy now. He's not a tights guy anymore. He's a trunks guy. He looked a lot like a young Randy Orton, honestly,
Mm-hmm.
from a aesthetic perspective. And he really showed his diversification in his presentation because this was unlike any other Kyle Fletcher match you've seen. Kyle Fletcher, has always been great since we've seen him in AEW coming over from New Japan, but he's always kind of been the same guy.
Mm-hmm.
The style that he wrestles, very AEW, very indie-rific, if you want to call it, high pay or fast-paced, high spots, that kind of stuff. This was much different. He starts out the match as your methodical bully. Like he kicks Commander in the face after shoving. He threw his tearaway pants in his face to distract him, and then kicked him in the face, and it just knocked Commander from the loop. And from there, he just continued to just bully, almost a lot like Shelton Benjamin has done since his AEW
Oh,
debut.
okay.
Honestly, so like he's really just. And Commander would come back and do some hope spot stuff. Like he did the thing where he grabbed the hand and then he walked the ropes, and Kyle Fletcher took advantage of him, taking a little too long to jump from the top to the middle to the top to the middle to the top. And he just throws him all the way to the outside. Like just it was a different when you take on this kind of new character direction, you want your in-ring style to reflect it as well. And Fletcher understood the assignment perfectly. And I don't know whether that's just innate or whether that's because he's, with Don Callis, who is a legitimately smart guy.
Mm-hmm.
As annoying as he can sometimes be on the mic as a character, he's a legitimately smart guy. I don't know, what the impetus for this was for him to commit to this, but I'm glad he did because it showed that he's far more adaptable than probably a lot of people give him credit for. If he's not like a if he's not consistently in the main event picture within 2 years for them, I would be very surprised.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna be a guy for them. Probably not the guy, but he's gonna be a guy for
Yeah.
them. Lots of good spots in there. And Commander too. Like I don't want to discount Commander. Commander lately has been killing it every time that he's had a spot.
Mm-hmm.
Every time that he's had TV time, he's like, oh, well, I'm going to go out and maximize my minutes with this guy. And he does it every single time. Like he hit a springboard Canadian destroyer at one point.
Yeah, it
Uh
was nice.
He had a moonsault that was countered into what they're calling the Aussie bomb, which is just the I guess a sit down last ride. But
Mhm.
the one that really was super, super impressive, he got on Fletcher's shoulders and then reverse Rana or tried to reverse Rana him, but they were too close to the ropes. So they went all the way over, and Fletcher still landed on his feet with Commander on his shoulders. And then they did the reverse Rana on the outside.
Oh wow.
It was
Yeah.
absolutely stellar. Like, I cannot talk up this match enough. If you haven't seen it, guys, you need to see it. It's wonderful. Just chef's kiss. Match ended with Fletcher hitting the brainbuster. I don't know where he met El Generico. They seem to be of different generations, but it seems that El Generico has passed his finisher on to Kyle Fletcher, or maybe Fletcher stole it because he's a bad guy and that's what they do.
Yeah.
But afterwards, he continues beating up Commander. But then Mark Davis comes out, and that's going to lead to a match. Fletcher also to promote the tag team match, the tag team division a little bit more. They get on the mic later on in the show, and Fletcher says he and Takeshi are like, that tag team scene is looking pretty good right now. Maybe we should get in that mix too. So he challenged Mark Davis, or not challenged Mark Davis. He challenged Ricochet and a partner of his choosing. He said he didn't care. So you have to assume it's going to be either Mark Davis or Will Ospreay, which is
Mhm.
cool that there are options. Usually, when the mystery partner is, it's some like one obvious person, but this could be two obvious people. So there's
Mhm.
still like a little bit of mystery there, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, ultimately, everything about this was stellar, terrific. Um, Now, okay, before I go into the bad, I'm gonna no, you know what? No, we're gonna finish on the positive note. I'll go to the main event first, even though it's out of chronological order. The bad, or not the bad, but the part that could have used a little bit more seasoning, I guess, was the women's world title match. Um,
Mhm.
I don't think that anything that I could say about this match would surprise anybody, given what I've said about Mariah May and Anna Jay in the last several weeks. So I won't harp on it too much. The best part about it was the finish because it was Anna Jay got caught in a. I think if it's not the same roll up, but it's a similar one that she beat Mariah May with 2 weeks ago. So I
Mhm.
like the symmetry there. Other than that, though, it was just okay. It
Yeah.
wasn't bad. It was not bad. It was just okay. And just okay, I'm sorry, a main event for the women's world title shouldn't be just okay.
Mhm.
I don't care if it's on free TV. It should be of a higher standard. And like, I know that Anna Jay is trying her best, and I know that Mariah May is deliberately trying. It's very clear to me that she's deliberately trying to change her style since beating Toni Storm to be a more character driven instead of action driven performer.
Mhm.
And that makes sense. I get that. You want the crowd to boo an incredibly beautiful woman when the longer Toni Storm is not there, the more people forget about her and the more they'll focus on, oh my gosh, this woman is gorgeous and I want her to do nasty things to me. Um, like it's so in order to do that, you gotta draw heat where you can. And to do that is one way to do that is to go the Cactus Jack ECW route and just kind of be a little boring.
Mhm.
Uh, I get that's what she's doing. She's not boring. She's not toned it down so much that she's putting a headlock on for 5 minutes, but it's not as quick paced as it used to be with her leading up to her title win. And you know, unfortunately, I'm not really digging it. Like, I get what they're going for, and I'm not supposed to like it, so I guess it's successful, but
Mhm.
that doesn't mean I'm having as good a time as I want to have with it.
Yeah.
But in any case, like Anna, I mean, this has probably been the best that Anna's looked since her Stardom uh, sojourn, but that doesn't. She's still Anna Jay. Like it's. I feel like she really could have. It would have been better served by staying in Stardom for longer and learning more. Because if anybody's going to teach you how to be a better wrestler, man, Joshi wrestlers are top flight wrestlers. They really are. Like, there's a tradition, long tradition, going back to the mid 80s of Joshi
Hmm.
wrestlers kind of being the best overall group of wrestlers on the planet. Like, they don't get talked about except in the hardcore circles. They don't get the flowers that they deserve. But,
Hmm.
people like, Manami Toyota and
Bull
Kudo and
Nakano.
like Bull Nakano. Like, you know, I mean, Bull Nakano was one of the lucky ones that she was able to get on WWF TV for a little bit. But
Hmm.
like, she was of a generation where most of those women were so hugely influential, and most people don't even know it. The
Hmm.
Vertebraker was the Kadome Valentine. Like, it
Hmm.
was like Shane Helms didn't. He may get credit for it, but he didn't create it. He brought it to an American audience, but he didn't create it. And
Yeah.
he will be the first one to tell you that. I'm not casting shade on Shane Helms
Oh
at
no,
all.
no, he'll tell you. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. he was this he was the sensation of innovation for other things, but not for that particular thing. Um, but like, I feel like Anna Jane needs a longer tour over there. I
Yeah.
think she would benefit from it, and AEW in the long run would benefit from it as well. But back to the good, ending on the good. Shane Taylor versus Roderick Strong. Holy cow! Like, Shane Taylor is one of those dudes. It makes me question our decision a couple of weeks ago to make Powerhouse Hobbs our Bad News Brown, because
Hmm.
Shane Taylor's kind of him. Like, he's a
A little bit.
bad dude. He's a bad dude. And Roddy bumped and sold like him, made him look like an absolute monster. He would throw like four jabs at him, and he would get leveled with one punch.
Hmm.
One, like, from Shane Taylor. Like, every time Shane Taylor's out there, he tries to make the most of what he's given, and he is instantly credible. Like, I believe this guy could kick the crap out of nearly anybody on the planet. He has that attitude. He has a size. I think he has a legitimate boxing background, if I'm not mistaken. So like, his strikes look real good. Um, this was fantastic. To the point where I thought that maybe they weren't going to give Roddy the win here. Like, it was that convincing to me. I was like, ooh, wait a minute. Like, Roddy is not. And this was, and I thought that was exceptionally nice because, everybody knew Adam Cole was going to win his first match with Buddy Matthews. And that match was really good in comparison to the matchup of Adam Cole versus Buddy Matthews. Even as underrated as Matthews is, Shane Taylor flies so far under the radar for most people that Roddy versus Shane Taylor, you could almost say, oh, Roddy's going over easy. And they made you believe in this match that no, Shane Taylor could whoop him. Like, he could take this match. And that's the magic, right? That's the secret sauce, right? Make you
Yeah.
believe. The only complaint I have is with the finish there. I think it might have been improvised because the referee goes down for one and two, and then he kind of stops before he gets to three. But then the bell rings. I
Mm.
think that the high knee that Roddy hit, actually might have caught him flush and knocked him out for a minute. And so they
Mm.
had to improvise the finish on the fly. I still believe Roddy was probably going over, but like, I
Yeah.
don't think that was the finish originally, because
No, I
like,
didn't seem so.
yeah, but either way, like, and Roddy does have a tendency to get kind of flush sometimes. But so that I and those strikes that he throws are no joke either. Um But yeah, everything else about this match, I loved it. I loved it. I thought it was it. I really hope they do something with Shane. Like apparently in Ring of Honor, he must have found some more guys to put in his group because the Infantry came out with him, and I didn't even know they were with Shane Taylor Promotions.
Yeah.
They explained it, but like I didn't know that, so I'm hoping that maybe does something for him because that guy is they made him look amazing. Like there's potential to be mined from Shane Taylor, and I think that they really need to capitalize on it.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of those guys that has authenticity too. Like you believe everything that he does. You believe that everything that he says in the mold of an Eddie Kingston or somebody like that. I don't think authenticity should go to waste because it's such a rare commodity in wrestling. You cannot
Mm-hmm.
let it go to waste. If you have it, you can put that guy in any spot and you know immediately the guy he's facing is in danger.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where that doubt comes in. That's where that again, like I said, that's where the magic is, and the buying into the suspension of disbelief. If you got somebody who's believable, they'll help you suspend your disbelief.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was Collision. If I like I said, if great week of TV for AEW as well. I'm glad to see both promotions had just stellar weeks. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Usually that doesn't happen. Usually there's something that's like really, really off about one or the other. But like
Mm-hmm.
I'm I'm happy to say that we can report that apparently both companies decided to bring their A game this week.
Yeah. They really did. It was crazy. I fans are spoiled for choice right now. It's a good week.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Heck yeah.